Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is a Nextway F9X tablet, which is a 9.7-inch tablet with a 2048 by 1536 pixel display. So it's about the same size and shape as an iPad, and it has an iPad-like Retina-like display. Looks pretty good, has wide viewing angles, it's an IPS screen, looks good from pretty much every angle, and the screen's probably one of the best things about this tablet. Overall, it's not a bad looking tablet. It's got a metallic back here, it's got a glass front, feels pretty good in terms of multi-touch. The weakest point, though, is, in general, the performance. It has an Allwinner A31 ARM Cortex-A7 quad-core processor and PowerVR SGX 544 graphics, and I don't know if it's the chip alone or the chip combined with a high-resolution display, but certain things just take a little bit longer than they should to perform. So right now it actually is seeming pretty zippy, but let's go ahead and say open a website. And you can see we've sort of gotten stuck here. Okay, now it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Okay, once it's up and running, it's not too bad. Scrolling's a little jerky, but the page actually isn't 100% loaded yet, so let's go ahead and let that happen. Meantime, let's take a quick look. You've got recent applications, you've got your status. It's running Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, has 2 gigs of RAM. There we go. So you can see here when I try to sort of zoom in, once everything's sort of loaded right, it seems to work fine, but you might have noticed when I first did it, there was a little bit of a lag. And that's the sort of thing that I've noticed a lot here. So for instance, when I want to load an application, say I'm going to load the Kindle app, sometimes it takes a long time for apps to actually launch. Once they do run, they tend to run okay, but it can be a little bit annoying sometimes, waiting for instance for my ebook library to load. Rather than make you sit through that, let's go ahead and demonstrate some other things. Let's go ahead and load Netflix. Video playback looks pretty good, so if you can deal with sort of the long wait times, then overall content is pretty good, and that screen, as I mentioned, is one of the strong features here. I've noticed that I have some difficulty getting some YouTube videos to play. I'll hear audio but not see video. I ran a series of benchmarks on here. It's not quite as fast as you would expect from something like, say, a Nexus 7, either the 2012 or the 2013 model, but it does okay in benchmarks. So you can play games. Again, you're going to have to maybe wait a little while for them to run, but once they are loaded, those games should run okay. So you sort of get used to waiting time. So you can see, while it took a long time for the game to start, now that it started, it works pretty well. It's actually behaving pretty well right now, but I've noticed that a number of times when I try to do things like, for instance, load the camera app, it takes a while for it to get started. Now it seems to be working okay. And sometimes when I want to go in, it takes a while for the keyboard to launch. So sometimes you'll be tempted maybe to tap a couple of times, and then the keyboard might sort of appear and disappear before you're ready for it. So as you can see, it's a little bit hit or miss. This is actually one of the better runs I've had. Almost everything I'm trying here seems to work pretty well if launching a little bit slowly. So it's not a horrible tablet, but it's not the best tablet in terms of overall performance. You can find more details at liliputing.com, where I've got some benchmark results and other details and some photos. But I just wanted to give you a quick video overview of what to expect. And I forgot to mention off the top of the bat, one of the best things about this tablet, other than the pretty decent screen, is the price. You can pick one up for about $205. So It looks a little bit like an iPad, has a screen that's a little bit like an iPad's, but it has a price that's less than half the price of an iPad. So that's pretty nice. It's just not going to offer exactly the same sort of speedy performance that you might expect. It's also got a couple of other interesting quirks here. There's two buttons here on the side. This one's the escape button, that one's the power button. They look and feel exactly the same, so it might take you a little while to get used to where their placement is and not hit back when you mean to hit power. There's no physical buttons for volume. Instead, we've got little volume icons that show up here in the on-screen area. And also looking at the side, you can see that we've got a micro SD card slot, micro USB port, and a micro HDMI port, and a headset jack. And this over here is a power jack because there's a power adapter for this guy that plugs right in there. You can't charge it with a micro USB cable, so you're going to want to make sure to hang on to this because if you lose it, it might be difficult to replace. So there you go. A quick look at the $205 Nextway F9X tablet. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is a brief video review of the Nextway F9X.